Hello, my name is Haley Jones. Welcome to this edition of Literary Reviews. Today, we are at Terraced Gardens in Kent, England, to discuss the Charles Dickens novel, Great Expectations. Since AI doesn't want us to depict children, we have cast the animal actor Boingo to play the part of Pip as a child.
Thank you, Haley. It has been great filming here in Kent. I have a tutor to help me keep up with my education when on location.
The novel opens with Philip Pirrip, known as Pip, as an orphan living with his older sister, Mrs. Jo Gargery, and her husband, Joe, the village blacksmith, in the Kent marshlands of England. While visiting the graves of his family in the churchyard, a young Pip encounters an escaped convict who demands food and a file. Pip, terrified, steals a pork pie and a file from his home to deliver to the convict.
I see you came from that house over there. Go get a file and some food and bring it back to me if you know what is good for you.
I brought this for you, sir. I will be in trouble when my older sister finds out the pie is gone.
Abel Magwitch, the convict, is recaptured shortly after while fighting with another convict. Meanwhile, a wealthy, reclusive old woman, Miss Havisham, sends word through the lawyer, Mr. Jaggers, that Pip is to visit her at her decaying mansion, Satis House, to play. Miss Havisham wears a yellowed wedding gown, and all the clocks in the house are stopped at 20 minutes to 9.
There is no need to be frightened, boy. I just wanted a little liveliness in my house and wanted to see you play, if that is all right.
You know, ma'am, that sounds a little peculiar, but people told me to expect strange things from you, no offense.
There, Pip meets Miss Havisham's adopted daughter, Estella, a beautiful but cold young woman who constantly insults Pip's common manners. Pip visits Satis House regularly over the next few years, becoming discontented with his humble life and desiring to become a gentleman for Estella. After a few years, Miss Havisham pays Jo Gargery for Pip to be legally indentured as his apprentice, ending his visits to Satis House.
Pip, it's good to have you working with me. You'll make a fine blacksmith, now that you are no longer an ape.
Pip despises his new life in the forge, but endures it. He confides his unhappy aspirations to Biddy, a simple but kind girl who teaches at the village school. When Pip has been an apprentice for 4 years, Mr. Jaggers reappears with astonishing news. Pip has come into a substantial fortune from an anonymous benefactor on the condition that he must immediately leave the marshes, keep the name Pip, and never inquire about the benefactor's identity.
It is the intention of the benefactor that you use the funds to raise your social standing and become a thriving gentleman.
I'm positive the benefactor is Miss Havisham, and I am destined to be with Estella.
Joe visits Jaggers' office and releases Pip from his apprenticeship so that Pip can accept his new fortune. Pip travels to London and takes lodgings with Herbert Pocket, the son of his tutor, Matthew Pocket, at Barnard's Inn. Pip immediately becomes friends with Herbert, whom he recognizes as a pale young gentleman he fought years ago at Satis House.
Herbert, I'm glad to see you again. And this is certainly not a coincidence. If I remember correctly, I won our fight at Satis House.
It's great you're here, Pip. Welcome to Barnard's Inn, and I'm quite sure I won.
Pip begins his education and adopts the lifestyle of a gentleman, learning manners and acquiring debt easily. Jaggers manages his affairs. Pip is later invited to Miss Havisham's, where he learns that Estella has returned from France and is now formally presented to society. She is cold toward Pip, but he continues to pursue her.
Ah, Pip. We've known each other since we were children. I have always looked down on you. Why do you continue to pursue me?
I don't know, my therapist asked the same thing. He says I should set boundaries to create distance from you and focus on self-care and personal growth.
That was a rhetorical question. I wasn't expecting you to answer me. What's wrong with you?
Pip turns 23 and is informed by Jaggers that he must be ready to receive his benefactor. That same stormy night, a strange, rough man appears at Pip's door and reveals himself to be Abel Magwitch, the convict Pip helped years ago. Magwitch is Pip's anonymous benefactor, having made a fortune as sheep farming in Australia. The condition of the money is that Magwitch, you look distracted. Focus. As I was saying, the condition of the money is that Magwitch, who was transported for life, cannot return to England under penalty of death. Pip is horrified to learn the source of his money is not Miss Havisham, and that he is not intended for Estella.
That changes everything. I hope no one learns the source of my means. That low-class commoner probably considers me his protégé.
Nonetheless, Pip commits to helping the wanted man escape. Pip learns that Magwitch had a former partner, Compeyson, the man who was to marry Miss Havisham and deserted her on her wedding day. Miss Havisham confirms to Pip that she allowed him to assume she was his benefactor out of her desire for revenge on the male sex, raising Estella to break men's hearts, including Pip's. Jaggers later reveals that Estella is the daughter of Magwitch and Jaggers' housekeeper, Molly.
I know what you are thinking. This man, Jaggers, seems to have too many of his former clients still involved in his life. You would be right by thinking so. They seem to be like stray animals I can't put out on the street. Except these animals have secrets they want me to keep.
Pip returns to Satis' house to confront Miss Havisham. As he is about to leave, Miss Havisham's dress catches fire from the fireplace. Pip manages to put out the fire but suffers severe burns to his hands. She is gravely injured and she lives for a short time after the incident. Estella marries the wealthy but cruel Bentley Drummle. Around that time, Pip arranges for Magwitch's escape down the river. During the attempt, they encounter a boat containing Compeyson, who has been hunting Magwitch to betray him. A struggle ensues in which Compeyson drowns and Magwitch is severely injured. Magwitch is captured, tried, and sentenced to death. Pip stays by him until the end, and Magwitch dies peacefully in prison before the execution can take place.
When you first saw me, you saw a reflection of your own childhood. You spent the rest of your life trying to make my life into what yours might have been.
Pip, now poor and deeply in debt, falls gravely ill. Joe, now a widower, comes to London to nurse him back to health and pays off all of Pip's outstanding debts. Joe leaves as soon as Pip recovers. Pip, resolving to pay Joe back, returns home, only to find that Joe and Biddy are married.
Joe, you have been a great brother-in-law, as well as a kind and good-natured person. Biddy, you too have always been good to me. It would be so much easier to be happy for you two if I didn't feel so darn sorry for myself. I squandered all the assistance ever offered to me.
After his pity party, Pip then visits the site of Satis' house, now ruined. There, he finds Estella, who tells him her unhappy marriage to Bentley Drummle has ended. He left her when he learned of her polluted gene pool. Since then, she learned the meaning of suffering. The story ends when Pip and Estella walk out of the garden together, hands clasped. Thank you for joining us with this edition of Literary Reviews.